Breaking news! Things are heating up in Baltimore, and trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one. There's a name floating around that could absolutely shake the foundation of the Ravens secondary. Fans are buzzing, insiders are speculating, and the front office might just be cooking something big. But before we move on, make sure you hit that like button if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you feel like it, comment, "Go Ravens," down below to show your love for the flock. Now let's get straight to the point. The name on everyone's lips is Trevon Diggs. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys star cornerback is officially being floated in trade rumors. And guess who's sitting right at the top of the potential landing spots? That's right, the Baltimore Ravens. According to a report from Last Word on Sports, the Ravens are listed as the #1 destination ahead of even the Kansas City Chiefs and Los Angeles Chargers. And let me tell you, the reasoning behind it isn't just speculation. It's grounded in some very real concerns about this current Ravens secondary. Let's rewind for a second. Entering the 2025 season, Baltimore's secondary is in a tricky spot. Marlon Humphrey, while still a leader and a baller, is aging. Nate Wiggins is stepping into a crucial role in his second year, expected to be CB1, which is a massive leap for a young player. Brandon Stevens had his moments back in 2023, but those flashes weren't enough to earn him a long-term deal. And the devastating Achilles tear to Darius Washington, that blew a massive hole in the defensive backfield structure. Here's where things get complicated. The original plan had Malachi Starks at free safety, Kyle Hamilton playing strong safety with the flexibility to line up all over the field, Marlon Humphrey dominating the slot in that nickelback role where he shined last year, and the outside corners being Humphrey sliding outside alongside Wiggins. But Washington's injury forced a total reshuffle. Now Kyle Hamilton is pushed back into free safety, Malachi Starks moves into strong safety, and suddenly the nickelback slot, where Humphrey was so effective, is left vulnerable. Marlon shifts again to fill that spot, but then the outside corner role falls on Chido Awuzie. And let's be real here. Does anyone in Ravens flock feel confident about that? Awuzie's story is one of early promise derailed by injuries. Solid years in Cincinnati until an ACL tear sidelined him in 2022. Last season, he was decent with the Titans, 8 games, nothing terrible, but also nothing that screams, "This is your starting CB for 800 snaps." Fans and analysts alike are skeptical if Awuzie can truly hold it down as a starter. This is where the Diggs rumor starts making sense. On paper, Trevon Diggs is a superstar. When healthy, he's an absolute game-changer. Back-to-back seasons with over 50 tackles, 35 pass breakups, and a staggering 14 interceptions. His ball-hawking skills are elite, but, and this is a big but, health has been his Achilles heel. A torn ACL in 2023, an ankle injury in Week 5, a calf injury in Week 9, and then season-ending knee surgery on Christmas Eve. Over the last 2 seasons, Diggs has missed a whopping 21 games. And the contract? Oh, it's hefty. $12.6 million against the cap in 2025, and it balloons to $18.4 million in 2026. The silver lining is that there's zero guaranteed money left, which means Dallas can move on relatively clean. Baltimore would be taking on the risk, but it wouldn't cripple the cap long term. From the Cowboys' side, the writing might already be on the wall. Dallas invested a 3rd-round pick in Savon Revel Jr., a cornerback out of East Carolina who many thought would go in the 2nd round if not for his own ACL tear. It signals that Dallas is at least thinking about life after Diggs. Add to that the emergence of Darren Bland, who absolutely exploded with 6 pick-sixes in a single season. Suddenly, Diggs starts to feel expendable if the right offer comes. But let's be brutally honest about this. Baltimore is not known for splashy trades. Historically, they've been conservative in free agency and the trade market. The front office prefers to build through the draft, develop talent, and avoid big swings with big contracts attached to injury-prone players. This is the Ravens' way. However, this situation feels different. The stakes are higher. The secondary is fragile. If Nate Wiggins struggles under the pressure of CB1 duties and Awuzie doesn't rise to the occasion, this Ravens defense could get exposed badly. On the flip side, imagine a healthy Trevon Diggs lined up opposite Wiggins, Humphrey locked into that nickel role, and the dynamic safety duo of Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks patrolling the back. That's a scary good secondary. On paper, of course, the risk looms large. Diggs' injury history is no joke, and taking on his contract is a gamble. But is it one worth taking to shore up what could otherwise be a championship-caliber roster? And that brings us to the million-dollar question. Should the Ravens pull the trigger on a trade for Trevon Diggs? Would you take the risk knowing the upside could be a lockdown secondary, but the downside could be another player on the sideline in street clothes? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Because here's the thing, Ravens flock, this situation isn't black and white. There's a massive gray area here, and it all revolves around whether Baltimore is willing to take the kind of risk that they typically shy away from. Look, This front office has a proven track record. They don't usually throw around draft capital or salary cap space for high-risk players, especially those with an injury history like Trevon Diggs. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and when you look at how fragile the cornerback room feels right now, you have to wonder, maybe this is one of those times. Think about it, Nate Wiggins, as talented as he is still only heading into his second year. We saw flashes, no doubt. The kid has all the tools, but expecting him to immediately lock down WR1S week in and week out in the AFC is a monumental ask. He's going up against the likes of Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Trevon Diggs, and Calvin Ridley. That's a murderer's row of elite wide receivers. And as much as we all want to believe that Wiggins is ready for that, the truth is, we just don't know yet. Now pair that uncertainty with the situation surrounding Chidobe Awuzie. Let's be honest, he was brought in as a depth piece, not as someone who should be logging starter snaps. And if the plan is to have Awuzie line up opposite Wiggins for a full 17-game season, then the margin for error becomes razor thin. One injury, one bad game, one mismatch, and the entire secondary collapses. That's not hyperbole. That's the reality when you're dealing with razor-thin depth in the defensive backfield. Let's not forget about Marlon Humphrey. The guy's a warrior. No one questions his heart, his leadership, or his talent. But Father Time is undefeated. Marlon is being asked to shift roles again, likely sliding back into the nickel where he was outstanding last year. But how much are we really helping him if the outside corners are struggling? Because if the outside can't hold, offenses will simply stretch the field horizontally and vertically, and even the best nickel corner becomes a non-factor. Now imagine this. You bring in Trevon Diggs. He's healthy, or at least healthy enough. Suddenly, the picture changes dramatically. You've got Diggs locking down one side, Nate Wiggins handling the other with less pressure, Marlon in his prime nickel role, and the versatile safety tandem of Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks patrolling deep. That's a secondary that can go toe-to-toe with anyone. That's a secondary that can win you playoff games. But here's the kicker, the money. The contract isn't cheap. We're talking $12.6 million against the cap in 2025 and $18.4 million in 2026. And yeah, there's zero guaranteed money left, so the Ravens could move on without dead cap if things went south. But that's still money you could be spending elsewhere, on extending young talent, adding offensive line depth, or reinforcing the pass rush. Plus, there's the trade compensation. Sure, Diggs' value has dipped due to his injuries, but the Cowboys aren't giving him away for free. A mid-round pick? Maybe. But Dallas could easily play hardball, knowing that teams like the Chiefs and Chargers are also lurking in these conversations. Then you've got the injury concerns themselves. The torn ACL, the ankle, the calf, the knee surgery on Christmas Eve. 21 games missed in 2 years isn't something you can just ignore. What if it happens again? What if the moment you bring him in, he's right back in the rehab room? That's not just a wasted trade. It's a liability that could derail an entire season. On the flip side, what if it works? What if Diggs stays healthy? What if Baltimore's secondary goes from being a question mark to an absolute strength? You pair that with an offense led by Lamar Jackson, a brutal run game, and one of the best tight ends in the league in Mark Andrews, and suddenly this Ravens team isn't just a playoff contender. It's a Super Bowl favorite. So here's the reality. This is a huge, game-changing decision for the franchise. It's not just about Trevon Diggs. It's about how aggressive Baltimore wants to be in this championship window. Will they play it safe, trust in Nate Wiggins' development, hope Awuzie can hold his own, and invest in depth pieces? Or will they go all in, take a risk, and try to build one of the best secondaries in the NFL overnight? That's the dilemma the Ravens face right now. But what about you, Ravens flock? If it were up to you, would you take the risk? Would you take a chance on Trevon Diggs knowing everything we've just discussed? The upside, the downside, the money, the injuries, the potential payoff? Tell me right now in the comments. Would you do it? Yes or no? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Go Ravens!